Hey guys, super interesting video on Wild Rift. So they're back with a Xayah supplementary guide, and yet again this is a supplementary guide because I still feel that the previous updated complete guide for patch 3.1 plus still applies here. Like basically that is the Conqueror version of Xayah. Today of course we'll be going through the Lethal Tempo version of Xayah. So Xayah, much like a lot of the other champions, can take both Conqueror and Lethal Tempo. So champions like Caitlyn and Tristana also have the same deal, which I've done guides on already. Can take both Conqueror as well as Lethal Tempo. Now, for all of the champions, I normally cover it at the beginning, but normally the pros and cons are, if you go for Conqueror, basically, you're in lane and in short trades, it's better, but basically in like longer fights or in team fights, generally Lethal Tempo is better because by the end of it, you will have more DPS overall compared to Conqueror. But the trade-off is that in shorter trades, Lethal Tempo is worse because by the time you stack it up, the trade might be over already and you won't have time to take advantage of the attack speed you built up. But either way, Xayah can take both. There are pros and cons to both, and kind of depends on your playstyle, what you're looking for, the enemy team comp, etc, etc. So we're not going to waste too much time discussing that because there are unlimited number of possibilities for which is better than which. It's kind of up to your own discretion or even your own personal preference or playstyle on whether you want to take Conqueror or Lethal Tempo, on Xayah specifically, that is. So, we're going to actually take a look at the build, the runes, as well as the spells, because, as usual, I refer you guys to the original Xayah complete guide for the skills and leveling order. I mean, this is a supplementary video, but I'm still going to refer you guys for that, and I'm going to put that up in the cards above. And also, in this particular case, for the build, I'm going to refer you guys to the updated complete guide for patch 3.1 plus. I'm also going to put that in the cards above because I already went through the build on that one, and honestly the build here is exactly identical. Unlike Caitlyn and Tristana, you're not actually trading out a attack speed item for Bloodthirster because Xayah already went for Bloodthirster all along. So really quickly going through the build, Stormrazor, of course, the best ADC item at the moment, followed by Infinity Edge, the best 2-item combo, defensive boots into normally a Xayah's or a Proto Belt, then a Bloodthirster for the life steal as well as the crit, then we go for Maul Reminder for the grievous wounds as well as the armor penetration, and of course GA for the extra revive in case you get instantly bursted. So now we're going to talk a little bit more about the runes and the spells. So for the runes, obviously we go for Lethal Tempo. So Lethal Tempo, as you guys know, every attack you gain a little bit of attack speed. When you reach 6 stacks, you would have 6 times that X amount of attack speed plus another extra 30% attack speed, which gives you a grand total of a lot of attack speed. So basically it's good on majority of ADCs including Xayah. Just allows you to attack really fast, but as I said, the con is you take time to stack it up. 6 attacks, it's only on basic attack, so it doesn't work on your Q, your E, or anything else. It's gotta be basic attack, so it takes quite a bit of time to build up, is the main drawback of this rune. But when you build it up to 6 stacks, it does a ton of damage. So for Domination, Hunter, Vampirism, of course, for the lifesteal. Basically the best go-to rune for all ADCs. You can never have too much lifesteal, although we already have the Bloodthirster, but simply it is the best option. Now for Resolve, Hunter Titan if there is a lot of CC in the enemy team, Bone Plating if there is a lot of burst, and now the new Nullifying Orb if you want to be a little bit more. If you want to have a shield that's more from the laning phase, whether you want to play aggressive, whether the enemy team has a very aggressive lane like a Draven lane, or you think you can get kills, but generally Nullifying Orb is a relatively good rune nowadays. Just that on Xayah in particular, I actually prefer Hunter Titan, but Nullifying Orb, wouldn't complain if I see people taking Nullifying Orb on Xayah. Then Hunter Genius for the Inspiration Rune because Xayah is very cooldown dependent on especially her E, and of course you need your Q and your W to actually get feathers to pull back with your E. So overall Xayah really cooldown dependent. It's really good to have your spells up more often, more feathers, more damage, etc. So basically you want the Hunter Genius for the cooldown reduction. So now that we've covered all of that, we can actually go straight into the gameplay. Alrighty, so here we can move on to discussing about the gameplay. So as usual, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you guys enjoyed the video. Any comments, questions, queries, leave them in the comments below, and I will be sure to either respond to them or at least give it a like or a heart. So first up, I'm gonna say this from the get-go. This is not the best Xayah gameplay that I've ever produced. I definitely had way better Xayah games. Even in recent times, there have been games that I've hard carrying, etc. But I really feel that I picked this game in particular to use for the supplementary guide, because I feel that in this particular gameplay, it shows off the best about why Lethal Tempo is good over Conqueror. Because at the end of the day, this is not an updated complete guide that goes through how Xayah works now. It's a supplementary guide that goes over why Lethal Tempo Xayah works and why Lethal Tempo Xayah is good. And the main time when Lethal Tempo Xayah is good is when you can get off a lot of auto attacks on whoever it is on the enemy team to stack up your lethal tempo, and then while it is remaining stacked, attack other enemies and basically take advantage of the attack speed to increase your DPS and just basically do as much damage as possible to enemies with your basic attacks among your other sources of damage like your skills. So we're here up against a Leona and Tristana lane. Now this is a really scary lane because if you get engaged on by Leona, you're gonna get CC'd for a good 1.5 seconds, during which time Tristana can jump in, plant her bomb on top of your head, and get like a free like 2 to 3 auto attacks where you cannot really actually do anything at all. So that's a really scary prospect. So we have to play, you know, really safe in this particular lane, especially pre-level 5. It's at least when you hit level 5, you might be able to use your ultimate to dodge out the Leona and her abilities. So here, I spot Tristana walking over my feathers. So here I root her, start to attack the enemies, and as you can see here, it is a little bit of a longer trade in the lane. So I do actually have my lethal tempo fully stacked now, as you can see. Really decent attack speed considering I'm only level 3. Of course, in combination with Xayah's W, that is a whole ton of attack speed for me. But of course, as you guys can see, it goes very well, the trade, but we don't quite kill anybody. Kind of expected. We do manage to blow the summoner spells of the exhaust as well as the heal off of the enemy bot lane, which is really significant. I also, of course, did exhaust the Tristana, but we still have Nami's heal and all flashes are still up in the bot lane. So not the worst trade in the world, but not the best either. Didn't really quite manage to blow any flashes, but we did manage to chunk them out. Didn't quite amount to anything though, because both my bot lane and their bot lane both reset, so it kind of just goes back to the start. So here we are up against an enemy Evelynn. So this is a really good time to get ourselves a controller. I'm going to plant it in that particular tri-bush just because that tri-bush is very unlikely to be cleared. And if you take a look at the map, when Evelynn walks in, unless she walks in hugging the wall straight into that river bush, she's likely to still be spotted by my control ward if you guys notice. So the only blind spot of the control ward is the bush. So if she like blast plants over into the bush, we won't actually be able to see her. So that is sort of the deal. So something like that, she appears out of nowhere. Of course, I didn't know that the charm was there. Nami manages to get the kill onto the Evelynn, and Tristana manages to trade the kill onto her. Galio ults in quite a few seconds too late, I should say, but does manage to dissuade the Tristana and Leona from going on me any further, so not completely wasted. I get exhausted, so I'm not really attacking. Really nice disruption by the Galio. We both get stunned by the Leona ultimate, and here I pop my exhaust onto the Orianna and do manage to get off a couple of attacks onto her, but nothing too much is happening. And I choose to cancel my back because I can take the fruit and the wave is pushing in. So I'm going to be able to get this wave as well as the next wave is incoming. So if I back here, I would lose a lot of gold from the minion. So I choose not to back. Tristana does choose to back though, and I almost managed to cancel a recall, but not quite. So Xayah pushes really quickly with the strike true on all of her feathers as well as the pullback. So you can very easily just destroy that wave. Now we know Tristana is in the base, walking out of the base now. So here together with our Jack, we're actually just getting free hits onto the tower. We actually managed to get 2 plates, and this is when we really realized we can actually just force this. So with the Jacks in tow, we basically managed to force the first tower from basically full health all the way to actually just destroying the first tower straight up. Because Tristana took a very bad back, and together with Xayah's wave clear as well as Jack's tower pushing potential, we actually managed to basically simply just burst down the first tower, which is something I didn't really expect either, but it sort of was an adaptation that we did during the game that we realized we could force it, and that's exactly what we did. So we back and managed to pick up Stormrazor, Longsword, as well as a pair of boots. So doing pretty well, 0-0 and 2. No kills as of yet, but we got those 2 assists, so not the worst in the world. Here the first dragon is up, and it appears both teams are fighting over the first dragon. It's kind of a very split fight. Evelyn is over there. 2 of her teammates are on the dragon. Set is off toward the mid lane, and Set comes in with the ult and gets ulted by Orianna in return. Jax manages to finish off the kill. Here I'm staying in the backline, just attacking whoever I can, stacking up my lethal tempo onto the Leona. I do manage to hit my QE onto most people. I managed to ult here to prevent Tristana from bursting me. Tristana switches targets and jumps over the wall, allowing me to pull back my feathers to root her and get the kill onto her as well. Now there, the Leona was thinking of chasing me. I plopped down my control ward to ensure that the Evelyn isn't anywhere nearby, because if like Leona engages on me and I see I see Evelyn nearby, I could be in trouble. So always want to be able to see the Evelyn. So sometimes in fights, it's okay to plop your control down right in the middle of a fight just to spot out a invisible Evelyn. No big deal there. So probably gonna have to relocate that control ward in the near future, because obviously it's not really serving a too big of a purpose near our red buff area. So here, huge wave here. I'm using Xayah's wave clear. I managed to just push out the wave, and I'm coming from behind to flank the enemy team. Of course, ADCs flanking, not always the best idea, but you can assess the situation and realize that you can actually walk in from that direction. Sometimes you gotta go the long way around to the other side. In this case, it's fine. I managed to stack up my lethal tempo onto the Leona as well. Managed to root her in place and get the kill onto her. So here I realize I'm positioning behind the dragon so that my feathers can actually be put on the ground between them and the dragon. So if they want to walk toward the dragon, I can always pull back the feathers to get off the root. So that kind of dissuades them from really coming in for the dragon. Here the fight continues. Jax dies to Evelyn's ultimate. Galio continues going in. I'm trying to deal damage to the Evelyn. I flash over because I thought I could kill the Evelyn, but she flashes over onto a blast plant, so I'm not quite in range. And here, fully stacked lethal tempo, trying to DPS whoever I can. Unfortunately, they all slinker away, and we cannot overstay because they're still relatively close to base, so there might be backup coming for them. So we don't want to overcommit. And instead, I'm just going to rotate back to bot and clear out these 2 minions, as well as the wave that is going to be incoming, as you guys can see. So just going to quickly just get rid of the wave, and then we can get off a good quality reset. Spend all that gold that we got from those kills at the dragon fight. And then we can also rotate over to the Rift Herald to help, of course, help our team out. So IE completed. So 3-0 and 4 all of a sudden, and now we're doing really good. Of course, 2 item combo completed, so we're going to be doing a lot of damage. The skirmish at the Rift Herald is already ongoing. I'm using the minimap to actually walk here. That's why I suddenly walked backwards, because I tapped somewhere else on the minimap and it caused me to walk backwards. Either way, looks like my team basically came out on top of that fight. And here we're going to be able to secure the Rift Herald. Kale's going to be able to secure her. Evelyn actually, I believe, flashed over or ulted over one or the other. I think she ulted over to try to, or blast planted over actually, to try to get the steal on the Herald, but without flash and without ult, she is basically trapped in the pit and just donates a free kill over to us. As the jungler, Miracle Steal's not always the best way to go. Finally relocating the control ward to a more useful position. It gives vision of river entrances, but yeah. Sometimes as the jungler, not always the best idea to just go in for the steal. Sometimes it is worth it, like if it's a Baron or an Elder Dragon, but if it's like a Mountain Dragon or a Rift Herald, I probably wouldn't risk my life to go in and try to steal it, because even if I get it, I'm gonna die most likely 100%. If I don't get it, I'm gonna die for nothing, so kinda sucks either way. Unless, of course, like Evelyn had ult or something like that, that wouldn't be too bad, because she could go blast plant in, try to steal and ult out. But she didn't quite have the ult up, so not really the best play by her. Here we Herald mid, and using the Herald we can actually push down the mid lane a little bit, trying to get the second charge off, but they do manage to actually destroy it. Here in comes the Leona, gets chain CC'd and just dies. In comes the Set, just dies as well. And here I'm trying to get the kill onto the Orianna. I don't quite manage to hit the feather, so I actually flash for it to get off an auto attack. Really greedy play by me. Wanted to get both the Tristana and the Orianna off of that play, but unfortunately that did not quite come to fruition, and instead I do get the Orianna, but I trade my life for it. Probably not worth exactly like what the Evelyn did. completely not worth. Flashes in to get the kill on the support. Definitely not a worth it play for the enemy Evelynn. But I also do give over a shutdown, which is really not optimal, so even worse on my end. But either way, we do get Protobelt this game. Reason why we go for Protobelt instead of the Stasis is because basically the only person who can really burst us is Evelynn, and she really hasn't been trying to do that this entire game. So I feel relatively confident that I will be able to escape her. Also with the Protobelt, and don't quite need the Stasis to block her instant burst. Now, of course, if you reach the late game like full build Evelynn, even with the Xayahs, she can probably burst you in 0.5 seconds just with like a EQ auto or a second maybe. So probably the Stasis wouldn't help too much anyway. So I think the Protobelt with the movement speed to firstly run away from Evelynn, run away from Set, move away from Orianna's ball, you know, just basically move move aggressively forward as well. I think that is gonna be the best way to go in terms of boot enchant. So that's exactly what I do go for. So nothing too much happening here. Cloud Dragon is spawning in about half a minute or so. In the meantime, there's a 1v1 happening in the bot lane where Jax manages to solo kill the Set, which of course is great news. But in the meantime here, we spot out the enemy Evelynn, but we know 3 members are nearby. We foolishly actually go onto the Evelynn, and Nami dies because of that, and I'm getting chased down. I ult a lot of feathers on the ground, get the pullback, and I unfortunately die before I had the chance to do anything else. Now, if I got the pullback like half a second earlier, I could have gotten off a couple more auto attacks with the Hunter, Vampirism, and the Vamp Scepter. Who's to say that I don't kill both of them there and get out alive? I think that is very doable, very possible, but unluckily for me, the cooldown didn't quite come up, and I do end up dying right as I managed to pull back the feathers. So here we have a 2-man dragon with the Galio and the Jax. Galio goes in for the disrupt onto the Evelynn, but Evelynn still manages to flash into the pit to actually secure the dragon. Pretty horrible smiting by the Jax in this occasion. Now here I'm running out from base, and I see they want the 1 HP Evelynn. So here I'm trying to find where she is. I'm shooting my feathers into that bush and looking at the I walked through the other bush as well. Turns out she was at the bush literally closest to the dragon pit, where Galio did spot her but didn't manage to interrupt her recall, which is really unfortunate. But hey, you know, it is what it is. Evelynn manages to get out scot-free with the heist of the sentry, steals the dragon, and still escapes with her life somehow, pretty miraculously, in my opinion. But here Orianna's in the mid lane. Tristana is pushing the top lane now. Not much we can do to stop her from getting that top tower, because Tristana is one of the fastest tower takers in the game, so we can't quite do anything to really stop her there. Replacing the control ward in the key choke point, and here we're basically just trying to get our lanes pushed out, basically to have some kind of priority in the lanes. Of course Baron is up, but neither team can really just start the Baron straight up without getting a couple of kills on the enemy team first. So nothing really too much happening here. I'm gonna go back to base, probably to get a Bloodthirster. Yep, there we go. Bloodthirster has indeed been completed, so all 3 crit items have been completed together with the Protobelt. And yeah, so we're really strong at the moment, of course. So here I see a huge fight happening out in the mid lane. Not really a huge fight, but more of Galio getting picked off. So not quite what we're looking for. 2 wards plonked down over here into the bush. I managed to clear 1 with the help of the control ward, but can't quite do so for the other one. Here, Leona jumps in, you know, just gets destroyed by me, gets rooted. Tristana gets killed by Kayle. Kayle on the chase. I'm on the chase as well. Protobelt forward to kind of get the distance. Kayle gets shut down by the Evelynn, unfortunately. And here, nothing too much we can do anymore, because Orianna has decent wave clear and can clear out the minions. So I'm not going to waste too much time. We're going to rotate over to the top lane to just push out top. And at the same time, enemy Krugs are up, so we're just going to pick up those enemy Krugs. Nothing too big of a deal happening here. Small, minor details, stealing the enemy's jungle. And here we see a skirmish happening in the mid lane. So here we're just trying to hover around the area and just try to get them to commit, and then we go in. Because if they had, like, for example, warded that pixel brush and they see us coming, they wouldn't really commit. Now, beautiful Protobelt E by the Galio, but forcing Orianna's flash so that she doesn't get engaged upon and basically just die. So ult onto the Nami and fall into the shockwave by the enemy team. Galio with a really nice engage onto the Evelynn. And here I'm basically just DPSing whoever I can. Really a lot of low health bars on the enemy team, but no one quite did yet. Basically sieging the tower against the Evelynn, who cannot really do too much to defend. Really nice chain CC by my team to get the pick onto the Evelynn. Yet again, we have no minions to push, so we can't quite manage to do that, unfortunately. So here we kind of get split off, and there is a pick happening onto the Galio. And here I'm trying to do something about it. Tristana actually jumps over to the backline to kill the Nami, so I'm gonna just flash over to get her while she's 1 HP. So no big deal there. So here we have basically only Sett and Leona up to defend, which they cannot really do too much about in this case. So here, actually, if we wanted to, we could try to force down more towers, but instead we choose to take the safe route. Because Evelynn is respawning, so we don't want to really get caught by Evelynn. So I'm going to back here, and I'm going to pick up the Moral Reminder. Of course, it's going to be really helpful against champions like Leona and Sett, who of course are really tanky. Also going to help to cut the healing of people like Tristana and even Evelynn to a certain extent. And here I'm just going to pick up the quick red buff. Chickens are up, so we're going to farm the raptors. And yeah, so nothing too much happening here. We also see the Krugs up, so also from the Krugs. Basically, we have farmed the whole red side jungle at this point. Elder Dragon about 30 seconds from coming up. I accidentally hit that blast plant there, which is actually a mistake because we might have needed that blast plant to blast into the pit. So a little bit of an oopsie by me. Galio just managed to get the engage onto the Orianna, and the rest of us are all on the chase. I realize that there's no way we're reaching them in time, so I give up the chase and instead go for the enemy raptors. So they finally do catch up to the Orianna. Orianna flashes under the tower, and they surprisingly don't actually get the pick onto the Orianna. Instead, a fight is kind of breaking out. So we're in the area, so we're ready to rumble if anything does happen. But Infernal Dragon is of course up, so we do want to of course go for that. Now we know that Jax already lost the Cloud Dragon to the Evelynn, so this is not... I don't have the most confidence in the world when it comes to Jax actually securing the objectives. And Jax kind of no idea what he's really doing in this entire time. He's just standing there kind of trapping, but really what we should be doing is just bursting the dragon. I have so much DPS, we could easily burst the dragon. Either that or we all trap and wait to turn, but we should be doing one or the other. So here Jax finally chooses to attack the dragon a little bit. While Galio is as usual on zoning duty. We do manage to secure the dragon without too much of an issue. And here I'm on the chase for basically anybody. Appears Evelynn is the closest target, so I'm on the chase for Evelynn, trying to get her down. I exhaust the Evelynn, but because of the Sett, Evelynn does kind of manage to slinker away, and the chain CC manages to actually get me killed. So in my opinion, that was a pretty easy fight for me to actually win. I was mashing my ult button, but I just got chain CC'd, and I simply don't manage to really get my ult off. So kind of really unfortunate there. But hey, what can you do except maybe use your ult a little bit earlier. Alright, so here only Nami and Jax are left alive up on our team, whereas their team has the bot lane as well as Sett. So here Jax is getting some good old pushing done. Of course, that's a really good idea to just get all the waves pushed so enemies have no choice but to respond. At this point in time, still no inhibs secured for my team, so we're going to have to, of course, focus on getting some inhibs as well. So here I'm the last person to respawn because I was the last person to die. I'm just going to probably respawn, hit straight out to probably secure the red buff. Unfortunately, Jax is actually on the red buff, and he doesn't seem that he wants to share. So I give him the emote because he just takes the red buff when clearly, you know, he's 6, 2, and 8, not doing poorly by any means. But honestly, it'll be way more useful on the ADC, especially since I'm relatively fed as well. So it's a huge wave in the top lane. So here I'm just going to clear out the huge wave in the top lane. In the meantime, my team is clearing up the enemies at the top lane. Orianna goes down, so does Evelynn, and also the Sett. So here this is a beautiful chance to get the Baron. Now honestly, we could have tried to just simply force the end here, considering there's only one Tristana and one Leona to defend, which is not really the most challenging in my opinion, but we just go the safe way. The Baron way is the safe way. We secure the Baron, we use the Baron to push in all the lanes, and we use the Baron minions to end the game. So here with the Baron in tow, We're going to be pushing in the mid lane. Kill is going for the top lane, and Jax is in the bot lane. So really nice 1-3-1 formation from my team. Pressure on all lanes. Jax unfortunately back, so not pressure on all lanes anymore. Here with the Baron minions, easy break of the base, and Baron minions come in at the top as well. And here we are also going to just get the top inhib. Melts like paper. And here pretty much we're just going to try to get the enemy team. Boom, look at that huge damage. I think that was the kill ultimate into my strike through auto attacks, and we get the minions actually get the base before we managed to kill the Tristana, so there's that. So thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I'll leave you guys with the stats as usual. And goodbye.